Okay, this is a long-awaited plant hanger macrame tutorial. I have my setup here. I kind of tell you what I have going on. I have my clothes rack, and then I have these metal hooks. I have my macrame rope right here, and scissors, some beads, because in the picture that I posted, I asked you guys between which one you wanted to see, and you guys chose this one. Pull it up. This is the one you chose. Sorry, you can see my ring light. So I have beads, and then you can use two different kinds of loops for it. In the picture they're using a metal one. You can also use wood ones. I've seen people use wood ones. I personally like the look of the wood, but I'll do the metal for this one just so you guys can see with this plant hanger with the metal. I already cut my 7 or 6 here, 6 ropes at, I did 2.5 arm lengths. I'll show you what I do. I have to cut one more string and I'll show you how I do that. I take my guide piece, so I cut this one at, like I said, the 2.5 arms length. I will now measure it with this piece with my guide to do, stand on the side, another cut. So now I have 2. I already cut the rest of mine. So altogether you need 8 strings at 2.5 arms length. So now that I have all my, what you're gonna do is gather together, put this back up, all your strings in half, and you're gonna put them together. The longest part about doing the macrame is cutting the strings and getting them all lined up in the way you need them. I tried to save some time here cutting them, but like I said, that takes the longest and it's not the most fun, but once you get knotting, that's the fun part. Okay, so now that I have all these together, I'm holding it in the middle where they would all be folded in half. So now I'm going to take my hoop, or whatever you're using to put the macrame on, and I'm going to pull these strings through to make sure it's hooked or looped right into the middle of all of my 8 strings. Make sure it's kind of straight and it's not so lumpy in there. So this is kind of what it looks like, okay? So now I'm going to hang this on my hook. Now, if you don't have this set up, what I did when I started is I put a tack on the wall, or I nailed a nail on the wall, hammered a nail, how do you say it? Anyways, I put a nail on the wall and then I hooked it onto that. It's not the easiest and it will probably fall off a couple times, but it works. Then I already cut this, but it is, the length of this is 1 arm's length. I don't know if you can see that. I cut it at 1 arm's length to make this kind of knot to hold this together and secure it up there. So I'm going to bring you guys closer. The 1 arm's length piece that I just said. And you're going to, the top of the string, you're gonna hold this and line it up at the top here. Then you're gonna do a loop, back down, and you're gonna start wrapping around this loop and around your 8 strings. Starting it can be a little difficult, but once you get it, just keeps wrapping. And I like mine to be a little thicker, so I'm gonna go back down. Now, once you've gone around how many times you want to, this loop down here that you made, you're going to stick that loose string through that loop. And now that it's in that loop, this string up here that you lined up at the very top, you're going to pull that. And that's going to pull that string through and hold it in here. So now it stays nice and sturdy in there. What you do with the loose strings, or the leftover, just cut them off. Whatever is left hanging off. So, and then also this piece I'm going to cut as well. So as you can see, there is your knot to start the piece. Because you cut 8 strings and you folded them in half, you now are going to have 16 strings. So you're going to need to grab 4 of those strings. And now with these 4, I'm going to start doing square knots. So this is the most simple knot and the most used. Sorry about this. So what you're going to do, you have your 4 strings. Let me see if I can even get you closer. You're going to take your 2 outer strings. Your left string will go in a 4 shape around your 2 middle. Then your right string is going to go over this one right here and underneath the 2 strings through the left. Pull that all the way up. So now that is your half square knot. Since you started on the left, you're now going to go to the right. So you're going to make a backwards 4 shape. So take the right string, make a 4 on top of those 2 middle strings like this. Take your left, go over to make it that backwards 4. Go behind the 2 strings and through this loop that you made. And that finishes your first square knot. Okay? You're going to do, I think my notes were about 12 of these, but you can go based on length or where you're going to be hanging this piece. I have shorter ceilings, so I might make mine a little bit shorter. We have the 4 strings, and since we started with the left, you're going to start with the left again. You're going to make a 4 over the 2 middle strings. The very right string will go over that 4, behind the 2, and through the loop. And now since you did the left, you're going to go to the right. So make a 4 left string over that one, behind the 2, through the loop. Back to the left, 4, over that, through the loop. I'm gonna do about 12 of those, so I'm just gonna speed through this. Now you have the 1 done. You're now gonna grab another 4 close to each other. Put those up. Now you're gonna do the same thing with these 4. Okay, so you now have 2 done. I'm gonna go ahead and do that with 2 more. So there's 8 strings left over here. I'm gonna divide those into 4 and continue doing those 12 square knots down. Okay, so I went ahead and did these 3. So I'll show you guys how I did it. Again, you're gonna leave it about an inch space. And I'm gonna start with a spiral knot, left over the 2 middle, right over the left string, behind the 2 middle strings, and through the left stringed loop, leaving that space. And now to start it, I do a normal square knot, so I now will go on the right. You don't have to do this, you can just keep going left. I just do it to start it off. Okay, so now I will continue just doing the left side to make that spiral. Left on top, behind, through. Now I'm going to continue to do that.
Just pass it up here. And once it starts twisting, I kind of just go with the twist.
Okay, now that I did that and it lines up with the other ones, I'm going to take my bead and the middle 2 strings here, find the ends of them. Now, normally I tape these, but I'm just going to twist them. Hopefully it'll get it through the bead. And pull that all the way to where you ended those other knots. So now it's in the middle 2 strings and you have your left and your right still. Still continuing the left, it's going to go on top of the middle 2. And your right will go on top of the left string, behind the 2 middle, and through that left loop. And then again, left, right, behind, and through. And that will hold that bead in place. Continuing, just going with the left square knots. Okay, now that I finished those, I want to add in this again. So I'm going to leave another about inch space on these 4 strings and do the normal square knot again, which I'll show you one and then I'll speed through. So starting with the left string, just like we've been doing, leaving that inch space. And now since I don't want the spiral, I'm going to switch off and start with the right. Okay, so now I finished the 4 of the square knots. I'm ready to put my plant in. This is the one I have right now. So what I do is I measure kind of where I want the plant to sit. So I kind of want the knot to be in the middle right here. So that's where I'm gonna go. So how you're gonna do that? You're gonna take from one strand here, the 2 outer ones, so one middle piece and the outer one, and then on another one, you're gonna do the other 2 that are closest to that. So now I'm just gonna do a regular square knot and leave quite a bit of space left over these 2 middle now. And this right string will go over that left, behind the middle 2, and through. And then you're gonna now go right over the middle, over, through. Tighten that square knot. Now you're gonna wanna go, so you have that. You're gonna wanna take these next 2 and combine them with these 2 outer ones. Doing the same process, the left over the middle, right over the left, behind and through the loop, and then right over, left over, behind, through. Again, take these next 2, combine them with these 2, left over, right over, behind, through, right over, left over, behind, through. And then you have your last 2 with these 2, same thing, left over, right over, behind, through, right over, left over, behind, through. So now you have kind of like a net spot where this plant would sit in. So now you're gonna grab these all together. And now I'm gonna take this out. So now I know this right here is where I want to end. I'm gonna take the string here. I'm gonna do arm's length. Cut that. Same as when we did the gather knot up here. I'm gonna do it right here. So you have the top of your string. Grab it, loop it, and grab that loop. So it's like this. And you're going to start wrapping it around all of these strings. Once you get to the bottom, this loop that you made, you're going to stick this extra string through that loop. And then you have this that you made at the start. You're just going to pull that up. That's going to pull that string up into the gathered piece. Then the extra, you just cut off. Same with down here, except now I'm going to put my plant in. obviously it'd be cuter with an actual plant. And I'm gonna cut off any that I don't want. So I'm probably just gonna take the shortest string, which is this one, and line it up with that. Now you can leave it like that, or you can unravel them and brush it out to make more of a fringe look. Normally I just take a comb, so of course I didn't grab it. But I'm gonna just leave it like that, or you, like I said, can brush it out. And that's the finished piece.